That silence when an interviewer points to a gap in your resume isn't just awkward, it's dangerous. They aren't looking at your skills anymore. They are looking for a reason to say no. You are on a Zoom call, the connection is shaky, and they look down at their paper and ask, "I see you left your management role in 2022 without another job lined up. Why?" Your heart starts racing.
I used to hate this moment so much. In my first big interview in English, I just panicked and said, "Oh, well, I was really tired and my boss was difficult." The interviewer actually stopped writing, put her pen down, and just looked at me. The air left the room. I knew immediately I had lost the job.
Stop apologizing. Today, we are building your pivot script, the exact 3 sentences that turn that gap from a red flag into your biggest selling point.
It is strange, isn't it? We feel so guilty about having a gap in our employment history. It feels like we have committed a crime.
It really does. And that guilt makes us talk too much. When we feel guilty, we tend to over-explain. We ramble. We give too many details about our personal lives or our bad experiences.
Exactly. We try to fill the silence with excuses.
But here is the secret, Tom. The interviewer usually does not care that you took a break. People take breaks. People get laid off. People change careers. That is normal life.
So what are they actually looking for when they ask that question?
They are looking for one specific thing: intention versus drift.
Intention versus drift. That sounds deep. What does that mean in a job interview context?
Think of it like a ship. If a captain steers the ship into a quiet harbor to fix the engine or check the map, that is intention. That is a smart captain. But if the ship just floats around aimlessly because the engine broke and the captain is asleep, that is drift.
I see. So drift is when things happen to you and you are not in control.
Exactly. If you say, "I quit because I was tired," or "I couldn't find a job," you sound like you are drifting. You sound like a victim of circumstance. But if you frame the exact same time period as a choice, you sound like a captain.
So we need to sound like we made a deliberate choice, even if the situation was difficult.
Precisely. To do this, we are going to use a strategy I call the pivot method. It has 3 simple steps, and it works for almost any situation, whether you were fired, you quit, you traveled, or you took care of your family.
I'm ready. What are the 3 steps?
The 3 steps are gratitude, realization, and the bridge.
Gratitude, realization, and the bridge. Let's start with step 1, gratitude.
Step 1 is all about the past. It is about the job you left. The biggest mistake people make here is bad-mouthing their previous employer.
Oh, I have done this. You want to be honest, right? If your boss was terrible, you want to say the management was toxic.
Never do that, even if it is true, especially if it is true.
Why not?
Because if you complain about your old boss to me, I assume you will complain about me to your next boss. It makes you look like a liability. It makes you look difficult to manage.
That makes sense. It's negative energy.
Right. So instead of complaining, we use gratitude. You want to briefly acknowledge the good things you gained from that experience, even if the ending was bad.
Can you give me an example? Let's say I hated my old job in sales. How do I start with gratitude?
You could say, "I really learned a lot about customer relations at that company," or "I was grateful for the opportunity to develop my communication skills there."
That is short.
It has to be short. You don't want to dwell on the past. You want to touch it, show respect for it, and move on.
Okay, so I'm not saying I loved it. I'm just saying I learned from it.
Exactly. It shows maturity. It shows that you can find value even in tough situations.
Okay, step 1 is gratitude. I learned a lot about project management there. What is step 2?
Step 2 is the realization. This is the most important part. This is where you explain the gap itself.
This is the danger zone. This is where I usually start apologizing.
No apologies. This step is where you explain why you had to leave to grow. You are defining the disconnect between where you were and where you wanted to be.
Okay, how do we do that without sounding negative?
We use values language. Instead of saying what you didn't like, you say what you were looking for.
Give me a contrast.
Okay, the drift version, the bad version, would be, "The hours were too long and I was stressed out."
That sounds like a complaint.
The intention version, the good version, would be, "I realized that I wanted to work in an environment that prioritized sustainable productivity and long-term project quality."
Wow, that sounds so professional. You're saying the same thing. I don't want to work 16 hours a day, but it sounds like a professional value.
Exactly. You are framing your need for rest as a desire for quality work.
What if I just quit because I was bored? I felt stuck.
Then you don't say, I was bored. You say, I realized I had reached a ceiling in that role, and I needed a new challenge to continue growing professionally.
I reached a ceiling. That is a great phrase. It implies you conquered the job, not that you gave up on it.
Yes, and if you took time off to travel or study, you frame that here too. You say, I realized I needed to take a strategic pause to recalibrate my career direction.
Strategic pause. I love that. It sounds like a military operation, not a vacation.
It is all about branding, Tom. You are the CEO of your own career. CEOs don't take vacations when they are unemployed. They take strategic.
Okay, so step 2 is the realization. I realized I needed to focus on X. What is step 3?
Step 3 is the bridge. This is the piece most people forget. You have talked about the past, you have explained the gap, but now you must connect it to the future, specifically to the job you are interviewing for right now.
So you have to link your time off to the company you are talking to?
Yes, you need to answer the unspoken question. Why is this good for us?
How do you do that?
You use a phrase like, and that brings me to why I am so excited about this role, or that is why I applied here because.
Can we put it all together?
Let's do a full role play. Tom, imagine you are the interviewer. Ask me about a gap in my resume. Let's pretend I quit a marketing job and took 6 months off to just think and maybe study a little English.
Okay, so Sarah, I see a 6-month gap here in 2023. What were you doing then?
Well, I learned a huge amount about digital marketing at my previous agency. Step 1, gratitude. But I realized that my true passion was in international communications, not just local ads. Step 2, realization. So I made a deliberate choice to take 6 months to intensively upgrade my English and cross-cultural skills. And that brings me to why I am so excited about this position with your global team, because I can now bring those skills directly to your international clients. Step 3, the bridge.
Wow, sold. I want to hire you.
Why? What did you hear?
I heard someone who is focused. You didn't sound lazy for taking 6 months off. You sounded like you were preparing for my job.
Exactly. I made the gap sound like it was preparation for this specific interview.
That is brilliant. The bridge part is crucial because it stops them from asking more questions about the gap. It directs their attention forward to the new job.
Yes, it puts the ball back in their court. You are talking about the future now, not the past.
Now, Sarah, this works great if you quit voluntarily. But what if you were fired or laid off? That is so much harder to explain. There is so much shame there.
It is harder emotionally, but the structure is exactly the same. In fact, the pivot method is even more important when you have been let go.
Okay, walk us through that. Let's say I was laid off because the company was downsizing.
This is very common. Step 1, gratitude. I really enjoyed my 3 years at Tech Corp.
Simple.
Step 2, the realization, or in this case, the facts. You want to be brief and neutral. Unfortunately, the company went through a restructuring and my department was affected.
My department was affected. That's a good passive phrase. It removes the blame from you personally.
Yes, do not say they fired me. Say my role was eliminated. It sounds objective.
And then step 3?
The bridge. However, looking back, I realized this was a blessing in disguise because it pushed me to pursue a role in new field, which is where my strengths truly lie. That is why I am here today.
A blessing in disguise. That is a great idiom. It means something that seemed bad at first but turned out to be good.
Exactly. It shows resilience. It shows you are not bitter. You are looking forward.
I want to pause here for a second because we are covering a lot of high-level vocabulary. Restructuring, recalibrate, strategic pause.
Yes, these are power words.
If our listeners want to master this kind of business vocabulary and really get comfortable listening to these kinds of conversations every day, they should make sure they are subscribed to the Everyday English podcast.
That is right. We don't just teach you words, we teach you the context. Every episode is designed to help you live your life in English, from job interviews to casual coffee chats. So if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, do it now so you don't miss our next deep dive.
And hit the bell icon too so you get notified. Okay, back to the gaps.
Let's tackle another very common scenario, Tom, the caregiver gap.
Oh, this is huge. I have so many friends who pause their careers to raise children or take care of sick parents, and they are terrified to go back to work.
They feel like their professional skills have disappeared.
They haven't disappeared, but the confidence has. And the mistake people make here is over-apologizing for being a parent.
Right. I'm sorry, I was just a mom for 5 years.
Never say just. Being a parent involves negotiation, crisis management, scheduling, and budgeting. But in an interview, you don't need to list those parenting skills. You just need to show that you are ready to return.
So how do we use the pivot method here?
Step 1. Gratitude. I'm grateful that I was able to take time away to focus entirely on my family during those formative years.
Nice. Formative years. That sounds very dignified.
Step 2. The realization. But now that my children are in school, I am eager to return to the workforce. I have spent the last 6 months updating my certification in field and refreshing my software skills.
That is the key part, right? Mentioning that you have refreshed your skills.
Yes. If you have been out for more than a year, step 2 must include some proof that you are still relevant. I took a course, I did some freelance work, I kept up with industry news.
And step 3, the bridge?
And I am specifically looking for a role like this one, where I can apply my previous 10 years of experience in a fast-paced environment again.
You are reminding them that you aren't a beginner. You have 10 years of experience, plus a break.
Exactly. You are framing the break as a temporary pause in a long, successful career.
There is one more gap I want to ask about. The I tried something else and failed gap.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Like I quit my job to start a business, but the business failed after 1 year. Or I tried to become an actor, but couldn't get any roles.
Those are actually my favorite gaps.
Really? Why?
Because they show courage. But again, you have to frame it correctly. Do not say I failed.
What do you say?
You say, I took a calculated risk to launch a startup. While the business ultimately didn't scale, I learned more about sales and marketing in that 1 year than I did in the previous 5.
Oh, that is good. It ultimately didn't scale. That is a very polite business way of saying it didn't make money.
Yes. And then step 3. And now I am ready to bring that entrepreneurial mindset back into a structured corporate environment like this one.
You are spinning the failure as an intensive training course.
Everything is training, Tom. That is the mindset shift. Your gap was not empty time. It was a classroom. You just need to tell the interviewer what you learned in that classroom.
This really changes how I think about interviews. It feels like we are rewriting our own history.
We are not lying. We are editing. Think about a movie. A movie has hours of footage that gets cut out. The editor chooses the scenes that move the story forward. You are the editor of your career story.
So if I spent 3 months playing video games in my pajamas?
We probably leave that scene on the cutting room floor, or we wrap it into a larger period of personal recalibration.
Personal recalibration. I am definitely using that on my wife next time I'm lazy.
Please don't do that. It only works in interviews.
Let's review the grammar for a second, because I noticed you switching tenses in these steps.
Good ear. That is important.
In step 1, gratitude, what tense are we using?
We usually use the simple past. I learned, I enjoyed, I managed. Because that chapter is finished. It is closed.
Okay, and in step 2, the realization?
We often use the simple past for the decision. I realized, I decided, or the present perfect if it is about a skill you have recently gained. I have updated my skills, I have prepared.
And step 3, the bridge?
That is present simple or continuous. That is why I am here, that is why I am applying, I am looking for. It brings the energy to the now.
Past, past, present perfect, present. The grammar literally moves the timeline forward.
Yes. If you stay in the past tense for the whole answer, you sound stuck. You need to physically move the listener to the present moment with your grammar.
Sarah, what about body language during this answer? Because you said earlier that I panicked and the interviewer stopped writing.
Yes. When we talk about gaps, our body language often betrays us. We look down, we touch our face, we hunch our shoulders, we speak quietly.
The shame hunch.
Exactly. So when you deliver your pivot script, I want you to do the opposite. Maintain eye contact, sit up straight, and smile slightly.
Smile?
Yes. If you smile when you talk about your gap, it signals confidence. It tells the interviewer, I am comfortable with this part of my story. If you look worried, they will worry. If you look comfortable, they will accept it.
It is like when a waiter drops a glass. If the waiter looks terrified, everyone in the restaurant stares. If the waiter calmly picks it up and smiles, everyone goes back to eating.
Perfect analogy. Your gap is the broken glass. Just pick it up, smile, and keep serving the food.
I feel like I have a lot of homework to do. I need to look at my resume and find my broken glasses.
We all do. Here's the reality. The perfect resume with 0 gaps is becoming very rare. The modern career is messy. It zigs and zags.
And with the economy the way it is, almost everyone has a period of unemployment or a weird transition.
Exactly. The interviewer likely has one too. They are human. They are just checking to see if you have processed it. They want to know if you are ready to work now.
So do not let 3 months of unemployment define 10 years of hard work.
Right. Do not let the gap become the headline. The gap is just a footnote. The headline is, I am here, I am skilled, and I am ready.
Okay, I have a challenge for our listeners.
What is it?
I want you to open your CV right now. Yes, actually open the file. Find the gap that scares you the most, the one you hope they don't ask about.
And write your pivot script for it.
Step 1. What is one thing you are grateful for from the time before?
Step 2. How can you rename the gap as a realization or a recalibration? What value were you looking for?
And step 3. Connect it to your dream job. That is why I am excited to work here.
Write it down, then stand in front of a mirror and say it out loud. Record yourself on your phone.
Listen to the recording. Do you sound apologetic or do you sound intentional?
Do it 3 times until your voice stops shaking. The first time will feel fake. The third time will feel true.
It is amazing how just having a script changes your confidence. You stop fearing the question.
You might even start hoping they ask it so you can show off your great answer.
Imagine that, wanting to be asked about your resume gap.
It is possible. It just takes preparation. You have the tools now. You just need to build the bridge.
Thanks for the coaching session, Sarah. I feel better about my own gaps already.
Anytime, Tom. And to everyone listening, your story is valuable. Gaps and all. Own it.
See you in the next episode.
Bye for now.